Go live, go live. All right, we're live. All right.
Send you that feed. Have a great show.
Okay, everybody. And you're going to all dance with me in the opening. Wait for. Come on, dance.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka Radio Red.
Radio Red in the house. Happy to be here. Where else would Radio Red be on a Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern or wherever you are in the world? This is Read My Lips, where I talk to very creative people. And interestingly enough, on my shows over the years, people I invite sometimes don't know that they're creative. And when they find out, when I ask them to delve deep into what they do, their life, their career, their business, their home, how they do everything, how they relax, how they do anything, they say, I didn't know I was a creative. But today is different because I have invited 4 esteemed, very special people. They are all friends of mine through an online poetry group, and I'm very proud to know them. 2 have been on the show before, and 2 are brand new, and you're going to meet them in a minute. But before we do anything formal there, my guests, just wave hello to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and wave hello virtually to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. We're empowering, and we're going to share some poetry and art and pictures with you. Now, before we do anything else, I want you all, guests, to please make the sign of the letter L with your fingers, the sign of the letter L. And on the count of 3, you're going to join me in saying hello, L, L, L. Just like that, at that speed. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello.
L, L, L. Okay, Jordan, can you put that in as they're tied for number 3 for the first place, the third best group for LL. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legg. She's a most loyal listener of this show. She lives in Whitestone, New York, and I've been trying to get her to move to a place that starts with L. And about almost 2 years ago, I wanted to move to London, Amy, but it was hot and it was expensive and I just couldn't figure it out. But I was looking at the map, dreaming, and I had a little vertigo and I tilted my head and the first N in London went upside down and turned into a U, and I landed in Loudon, Tennessee. So I went back to Laura and I said, I'm in Loudon, it's in L, you can move here and it's cheaper than. She hasn't arrived yet, but I'm saving a guest room for her. So here we are, it's August 5th, and my goodness gracious, it is the 217th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. Used to be the Julian calendar, but he missed a lot of days in October, and Gregorian said, I can do better than that. And he fixed it. 148 days left. It's the 32nd Monday, and I'm the only one who cares about that. Now, I have, as I said, 4 very special guests, and I have a special surprise for my guests. On every week on this show and on my Technology Revolution show, which I do under a different broadcaster name, I asked ChatGPT, don't get mad, anybody. I don't use it for the writers group, Amy, Dennis, Pearl, and Lela. I don't, never. But I ask it to help me write an opening monologue poem based on all of your bios. I fed it your all about 1,000-character bios for the 4 of you and a little bit of opening. And instead of calling the show anything but Conversations for Creatives, today is the Poetry of Creatives. So I'm going to read my opening poem. I edited it very carefully. And when I call your name, I want you to just wave hello. So here we go. Welcome to Read My Lips, where creativity takes flight. Cool conversations with creatives, a poetic delight. With host aka Radio Red, whose words do flow over her Scarlett mic in the live streaming glow. Today on the Poetry of Creativity, we shall explore 4 extraordinary poets to their soul's deepest core. You're all in trouble, especially Dennis. Let's meet our creatives. Feel the rhythm in their lives as their words dance across the universe and their poetry thrives. First up, Amy L. Hadley, wave hello, a pair of poets born of educator's grace, love of words, a maternal embrace, a photographer's eye, a poet's keen sight. She walks in nature, finds her muse in the light. From back road ramblings to Dixie Cup dreams, her verses flow like gentle streams. With no degree but wisdom vast, Amy's life's a poet, a poem in nature cast. Amy, what'd you think?
That was awesome.
I'm glad. I rent these poems. We'll negotiate later. Next, we have Lela. I can't even pronounce your first name. Would you pronounce it for me, please?
Lalawati.
Lalawati Manoo-Rahming from Islands Bright, a mechanical mind with poetic insight. Her verses journey from history's trace, unfolding tales of a people's grace. She writes of violence, of nature's plea, of Caribbean shores and the deep blue sea. Her pen a beacon, a small island's voice. In every word, her spirit does rejoice. What'd you think?
Wow. Mm.
I know. Chat, I have a little quiz for all of you afterwards. Next is Dennis. Here we go. Dennis Gray, a pair of poets. We'll find out what that is. A life lived wide, a videographer's lens, a poet's stride. From an apology to a fish long ago to pandemic days of creativity's flow. With Amy Hadley, backroad ramblings shared, photos and poems, brilliant visions paired. Youngest of 13, a left-handed seer with humor and love. Dennis's path is clear. Do we get a thumbs up, Mr. Gray?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Pretty good. I'll tell you in a minute. And Dr. Pearl Ketover Prilik, wave hello. A mind profound, a psychoanalyst where deep thoughts abound. From stepmother tales to poems of awe, she navigates life's noble law. Her free verse haiku, a compassionate blend. Her words a balm, a seeker's friend. A lifetime of wisdom Pearl's pen does confide, winning hearts with her poetic stride. What'd you think, Pearl?
Oh,
So I have more. Lela, I told you there was a gift. Yes, join us now as we explore the minds of these poets whose creativity shines. Here on Read My Lips, cool conversations come alive with akaRadioRed, a poet too. Inspirations arrive. Let the verses unfold. The stories ignite on this poetic hour in the live streaming light. Join us, dear audience, in our creative quest with akaRadioRed, bringing you her best, the poetry of creativity on this August 5th day. Poetry to inspire you to create, to live, and to play. What'd y'all think? Like it? Okay, here's the quiz. I fed it a little bit of the title, the poetry of creativity, all of your bios, which were about 1,000 characters each, and my name always, Radio Red and the Scarlett mic and all that. And I hit the submit button. How long do you think it took for ChatGPT to give me back basically 90% of that poem that I read you? Because I edited the other 10%. I didn't add, I edited. How long? Put up your hand. How many minutes do you think it took? If you think it took minutes? Minutes? Okay, how many seconds did it take? Girl says 1 second. Amy, how long do you think?
No, I said 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Okay. Amy, how long do you think it took?
10 seconds.
Okay. Lela, how many seconds?
About 1/10 of a second.
Dennis, how long did it take?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. Lela is closest. It takes less than 2 seconds for ChatGPT to take in all of that information and bring back the poem. And then I won't tell you how long it took me to edit. And I went back to your bios and I made sure it was accurate. But that's the productivity I get from it. And I like it a lot. It helps, but never on Wednesdays for poetry. So let's go around the table and do some proper introductions. Take 2.5 to 3 minutes. I'm going to put you each on speaker view so we can see you and appreciate you, and tell us a little bit about the rest. Fill in the blanks that I didn't cover in my brief poem. Amy, you're up first, dear. Welcome back. You've been on. You were on last December with Dennis. Delighted to have you. Amy, fill us in. What you been up to?
Oh, okay. I've got 3 different books in the works. I am working on one called My Dixie Cup Runneth Over, which is going to be a collection of Southern poetry. I am working on one called Dress Code, and kind of looking at things like, how do our clothes see us and why do we do certain things with our clothes?
When did you start writing poetry, Amy?
3.5 years ago.
Why?
Yes. Well, on Writer's Digest, I always did the flash fiction February, and then April came along and I'm like, I'm going to try it. So I started just trying it, and I liked it because, you could get a story out there in a short period of time. So I really, really, really enjoy that part of it.
Well, you are one of our most popular poets on the Wednesdays because you get the most thumbs up of almost, right, Pearl, right, Lela, right, Dennis? Every Wednesday, it's Amy Day, and I love your poetry. I love your verses, and you're a storyteller, Amy, and that's what makes your poem so delicious, is you're telling stories that resonate with so many of us on so many levels. So Thank you for joining me today. We're going to get some poems from you and some artwork as well. Lela, you're up next. Why don't you introduce yourself? Go ahead.
Well, I am, in addition to being a poet, I'm a short story writer. I was actually a short story writer long before I was a poet. And the poetry just came out of nowhere, basically. And I'm also a mechanical and building services engineer. I am from Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I was born and where I grew up and where I studied my bachelor's degree in engineering. And I married a Bahamian, Manoo-Rahming. That's where the name comes from. And I've been in the Bahamas ever since. That's the mid-80s. I've been here working and writing. The writing actually didn't start at any serious level until I came to the Bahamas.
And when did you start writing poetry, Lela? When did the poems start?
In the late 80s, 1980s. So it sounds like a really long time now.
We're all a really long time. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to sharing your images and your poems. You sent me some beautiful examples. Dennis, great.
Yeah, go ahead. So I was actually an artist I was, a little child, running around the place before going to school or anything like that. I mean, like primary school. I was actually an artist. So that hasn't been able to come out as much as the writing in my later years, but I'm working on it.
We're going to see some examples today. So thank you. Now I'm even more excited. Dennis Gray, what I was starting to say a second ago. Welcome back. Talk to us. How have you been?
Been doing pretty good. Still suffering from attention deficit, so I'm working on 7 or 8 different things at the same time. My background is the cover of my next book that's coming out, The Traps and Trappings of Life, Love, and Left-Handedness. So, and it's basically being the youngest of 13, I've got a lot of family to talk about in different ways, but it's all me and how different things affect me. So it's a memoir on me, and that's my daughter and they many weeks ago. Yeah.
Dennis, rumor has it you have an AKA, an alias Cadbury.
Right.
Tell us about him.
I'm actually going to read a couple of Cadbury poems tonight because of you. The idea was during an April thing. I didn't like writing everything under my own name, so I created Cadbury Steele and started writing under him, which gave me the freedom to be, a little bit crazy because I enjoy being a little crazy. And he's totally different than me because he is a introvert, lives in his mom's basement. He's 35 years old and single. And online he meets Alexa, and they start getting to know each other real well. And eventually he makes a trip to go to where Alexa is, and I'm going to read the beginning of that story tonight.
Thank you very much. I love the name Cadbury Steele because it makes me think of Cadbury chocolate. Pearl. I just met Pearl about 22 minutes ago. So happy to have you here. I've enjoyed your poetry on the site. Pearl, putting you on speaker view with your beautiful pink jacket or red fuchsia, whatever it is. Please introduce yourself. Take your 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the problem with getting older is I need a little more than 3 minutes, but I'll keep it as brief as possible. I'll keep it focused more on the writing and on poetry. First of all, it's delightful to have someone from the Caribbean because I lived there in St. Croix and St. Thomas many moons ago, and my heart is still there. So that's a major part. And in terms of the poetry writing, it's interesting because I've always wrote poetry, always from the time I was a young child. but I didn't consider that really writing. I've been struggling, like most writers, to write the great American novel. I have 3 absolutely mediocre, awful novels sitting behind me. I'm a good reader, so I know what is not good, let's put it delicately. But I just kept on writing poetry. I would write it more as catharsis as a child. I would write it for, gifts and, accompanying gifts and so on and so forth. And so I guess, to put it just very ridiculously simple, I was a poet, but I didn't know it until about 15, 16 years ago at Poetic Asides, which came up online. And I said, oh, that sounds like fun. I'll, put some on there. And people seemed to like it, and we developed a nice little group. And then I started submitting, and people seemed to accept it. And after about 1,200 poems, I said, idiot, stop with the novels. I guess you're a poet. And and here's where the psychoanalysis comes in, because I never really took much credit for it, because as you said, it just comes from, I don't know where, nowhere. So there's almost no effort. So there's no sense of undue modesty, because I don't really feel it's coming from me. It's sort of channeled. All my other writing, is carefully worked, and I need to think of an idea and a structure and so on and so forth. And this just doesn't. I'm not saying it's all good, but it just comes.
That's fascinating. And when you mention cathartic, I find, well, as many of you know who seen my poems over the past 6 months, when my lifestyle has changed, shall we just say that delicately, you know that I was writing very cathartic verses about when will spring come, and being alone and all of that. So there is a cathartic part. Amy, do you find that, just briefly around the table? Amy, do you write from it does bring stuff out that sometimes we can't say? Do you find that?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It lets you kind of tell the truth, but in a different way.
It does. Lela, you too? Is there a
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons I started writing poetry, to understand more about who I was and what I was doing.
Well put. Dennis, when you write, are you writing as the 35-year-old in the basement Cadbury, or you're writing as Dennis, or both?
Well, yeah, a lot of times I'll write as both, but it's one of those things to, not being an introvert. It's kind of different to take on that persona and write that way, so yeah, it's fun to take a risk, for Cadbury. It doesn't mean anything,
Yes.
Nobody's going to go after him.
Well, hopefully nobody will go after RadioRed either, because that's not my real name, but that's my Monday night radio name, and that's why I did it. Thank you all for the bios. I appreciate it. I'm torn between going right to the poems and going to the opening quotes I ask you, and I think I'd rather just start with the poems. What do you think? You all on board for that? Yeah, if we have time at the end, we'll do the opening quotes, which were really good, but I didn't want you to waste your time. But I want to start with a poem of mine before we go to, and I'm going to screen share for Amy and Lela, then Dennis will do his, and then Pearl. So let's see, last week it was shifting was the prompt from Robert Lee Brewer, and I turned it into night shift as an acrostic. I'm not going to share it, but down the side is NIGHTSHIFT, and I think I'm dedicating this to all of you. Okay, Pearl, look up. I want you to see this. You ready? Okay. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing. Highs and lows, flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again. Shifting off and on, into and out of gear. Hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, a command, a curse, a roller coaster. Finding eureka, euphoria, amid frustration and fears. Thus is the life of the creative. What do you think?
Excellent.
Does that no applause needed. I just wanted to put that one in because I'm not going to do any of my poetry, but I was thinking of all of us when I wrote that. The night shift, we're 24 hours, 7 all the time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to screen share, and I've all showed you before the show what we're going to do. Let me get my notes out of the way here on the other screen, and let me clean up my desktop so we're not sharing anything we shouldn't. And let's share the desktop. And Amy, you are up first, my dear. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at, and then we'll do 3 from you, 3 from Lela. Then it's Dennis's turn, 3 from Pearl. Let's see how much time we have left. Amy, go ahead.
So this is from the book Dennis and I collaborated on called Backroad Ramblings, A Wayfarer's Verse. And this one is Shine. And the photo was taken in my favorite place to walk every weekend. So Shine. She comes here to dream of him and feel his embrace in the warmth of the sun. When she's 1,000 miles from comfort, she hears his words in the breeze, a whispered rhyme to ease the time until they meet. When she is empty, she fills herself with the light he sends to help her shine.
Oh, just let that sink. That's a kind of verses, Amy, that you just don't take and say, okay, let's go to the next one. It just kind of sinks in. Okay. Any comments from anybody? It touched me. It touched me wonderfully. Lela, Pearl, Dennis, anybody want to make a comment?
Amy, you're a wonderful reader of your work. And
yes.
it's
beautiful,
just,
Amy.
yeah.
Beautiful. I'm going to go to the next one. Let's see if she can read this one. It's kind of
Yeah,
small.
I'm gonna have to get out the paper, I do believe.
I think so. I tried to fit it all on one slide. Amy?
I know. This is from my southern verse. The background of my cover is my background on that one. So this is called Gravity, and it's a narrative poem. It's not real rhymey or anything. So I'll never forget your face as you were leaving. Your hair still mussed and hanging in your eyes from our ride in the old T-Bird convertible. How you crossed the tarmac, glancing back over your shoulder. The love and fear in your eyes. You never did like flying. Said you just don't get it, the defying of gravity. The old T-Bird gave up the ghost that same night as I pulled into the driveway. She's been under canvas in the old barn for a while now, untouched since that day. I'm not sure it's been long enough, but yesterday I took a deep breath and uncovered her, disturbing a layer of dust. And then when the air cleared, I opened the trunk. I'd forgotten how much stuff one can cram into 22 cubic feet. Remember those flip-flops, the flimsy purple ones you found at the 5 and Dime, insisting in your best French accent that they were all the rage back in Paris? Say what? I remember answering. Paris, Kentucky, maybe. I slipped one on for old time's sake, and it pretty much disintegrated. I laughed until I cried. The red plastic sand bucket that still had shells in it, including that odd circular one you slipped on my finger, declaring your everlasting love. And of course, there was the ratty old blanket, even rattier now. How many hours did we while away stargazing, wrapped up in that old thing, tucked away in the cradle of the dunes, listening to the music of the surf, like we were the only 2 people on earth. I can still taste the sweet muscadine wine, feel time standing still. And oh, the stars, millions of them shimmering. Each one is someone's soul shining its light, you said. One day we'll be up there shining on. How many wishes did we make? I'd like to learn how to defy gravity, you told me on that last night. Well, I replied, you could find a place in outer space, float blissfully amongst the stars, watch over me from afar, or you could just kiss me. And that's what you did. You should be back in the city now, surrounded by towering skyscrapers, neon, and noise. When I got the call, what are the odds, I thought, that your plane would be one of the ill-fated 4, that gravity would pull you from the sky. I went to that field in Pennsylvania last month, sat there until well after dark thinking about you, and I wished upon a star. Shine on, my love, shine on.
Gorgeous. Absolutely.
Amy, I have a question for you. I'm going to keep the poem on the screen. Amy, what's the difference in formatting between a beautiful poem like this and, let's say, a piece of flash fiction? I don't know how many words were in this. What's the difference in structure or in the, shall we say, the genre that you pick in which to present this? Can you educate me and maybe our viewers as well?
I think it's the way you do your line breaks and the way it's read, where you know where to start and stop for the, the effect of it. And yeah.
Beautiful, just beautiful. I mean, I was crying. I think everybody was. Here we go. Let's lighten this mood up a little bit. Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so this is from Dress Code. And have you ever wondered what your jeans think about you? Well, you're going to find out. This is hanging with my britches. They expect so much these days, the ladies do. A soft touch, some give and take, a nice shape. They'd like us to stretch things as far as we can and keep things edgy. A little nip here and a tuck there, and with a little luck, a transformation. Yes, it's a complicated relationship. One week I'm her favorite on top of things and swinging along nicely in precisely the right places. It's all fine until I find myself relegated to the back of the line, right behind the one who has more flair. Where did I go wrong? I even complimented her thong. Can you believe she had the nerve to say I rub her the wrong way? I do declare that's an exaggeration. And what in tarnation does she expect? With all due respect, I do my best to accommodate and keep her comfortable. She is blessed with some junk in her trunk, after all. I am not uptight. It was just yesterday that I was her delight, her knight in shining armor, her charmer. Now she eyes me critically, lies down on her bed to pull me up, puffs and sucks it all in, and still she can't get buttoned up. Yep, the struggle is real. And what of my feelings? It's such a downer to see her frown and have her kick me away. It's painful, I'm telling you, to be rejected, subjected to such abuse. How is any of this my fault? I'm so confused. I reckon I'll just hang here with the other misfit britches until she diets and tries me on for size again. They expect so much these days, the ladies do.
Amy, that was phenomenal. I hate to say it, but relatable. I don't even try to wear jeans anymore. Britches. Oh my goodness, Amy, thank you so much. I'm going to keep this moving because we have a lot more to do. That was lovely. Okay, Lela, you're up. Talk to us. What have we got here?
Well, we have the cover of my second collection, Immortelle and Mandara Poems, and The Wild Lover is, like you see on the screen, it's from that collection. I'm just going to read it.
Yes, go ahead.
Cleansing, healing salt water bathes my body. Mango juice, salty sweet, drips down my breasts. And I want you. Fleshy coolness, yellow melt, washed by sea waves of yearning for your warmth, sunshine tingling my bare back. Sun burning with longing for a cooling spray of sea water balm or mango butter calming, my tingling nerves flushed with desire for your passion tear.
Oh my, we just heated up the temperature here a little bit, lady. Amy, you want to say something? I see your lips moving.
I'm tingling.
That was hot.
Yeah. I don't know if my engineer Jordan is old enough to. Jordan, you just hide your ears until we're done with the show. I'm not sure where this is going to go. Lela, let's go to your second one. Go ahead.
This is the a sculpture that I made. It's called my fertility sculpture. Anyway, so this next poem is called About Love, and you want to talk about heating up things, so let's go. There are days when love is sweaty, when even a thin camisole is too much to wear and wet clings to a body bothered by heat. On other days, love is flighty, giddy, and shimmying up poles or jumping like dolphins through rings or breakdancing to some wild beat. The best is when love is mighty, when it can weather and make holes in hardened isms, eroding veneers that cover those clayed feet. The poet said, love is blind. Thing is, it's bright, red as a cut beet.
Whoa.
Right.
Should I have distributed fans to everybody for the Lela, you didn't warn me. Is there an age limit on these? Oh my goodness. I don't know if we dare go to the next one, but I'm going to. Oh, these are some of your let's take an image break. Lela, what are we looking at, dear? What are these?
So on the, I guess that my left, I guess that's the audience right.
Yes.
That's the it's a sunrise.
Okay.
That I
That's beautiful.
I used an online app to create. Sorry.
Beautiful.
It's fabulous. It looks like the eye
Thank
of the
you.
universe.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It is on our left. We're seeing it the same way you are. It's beautiful.
Okay, great. And the other one is it's a plant. It's the name I think is T or Ti that I photographed, and then I used the same app to play with it and create this this multimedia, I guess, image.
I think it goes with your poems. What app did you use? May I ask, Lela?
PixArt.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
So
go to
this
the
will
next-
be like, sorry, it was mirrored and then I added other
beautiful. I see the turtles. I see the
yeah,
turtles and the lips
yeah.
and the birds and
and
you got a-
butterflies and all of that, and some of my text as well.
you got a lot going on there, lady.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's a poem in between there somewhere. Okay, let's do this one. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is my first collection. It's called
Yes.
Curry Flavor. Oh, by the way, and I did the artwork,
Yes.
the cover artwork for both collections.
Beautiful.
And this one is just abstract. And the first image, Immortelle and Mandara poems, that was a collage.
Mhm.
So this one is the title poem for my first collection, Curry Flavor. You said it was a scent of roasted jeera in my hair, pungency of onions tearing at my eyes, bite of ginger in my ears, crush of black mustard seeds in my mouth, tang of turmeric on my nipples, the perfume of cardamom in my navel, bouquet of achar masala on my fingers, taste of coriander leaves trickling from my pores, the flavor of garlic dripping from my lotus flower that took you back to Faizabad, that made you cry in your coming for your mama's curry.
Whoa.
Oh, let that sink in.
my goodness.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to stop. That was your third one. The next one is Pearl. So I'm going to stop the share for right now. Dennis.
Oof.
Can I go turn up the air conditioning? Can I turn up the air conditioning a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Dennis is sharing. Go ahead, Dennis. Give us some background here, please. You're up.
Okay, this poem here is from my book that's going to be coming out at the end of the month, hopefully. And a lot of it takes place in this one was I was either 5 or 6 years old. And then the next two poems are going to be Cadbury. And like I said, I write about simple things, and my brother Pat, we're the two youngest. We are really close. And I guess in a family of 13, the two youngest would be very close, just like the two oldest. But this is my first poem for you. It's called Bad Advice. Whoa, what happened? I went to go move it and it disappeared.
I see it.
Yeah, but I don't.
Oh, it's right here on
Okay.
the screen. Do you have it in front of you?
No, I do have it on the, but I have to, let me see. Okay, I know where to go. Go here.
Okay.
Nope, that didn't do it.
We're looking at it on the screen. Can everybody see it?
I see.
Yep.
it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, I'm going to just go ahead and read it.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Okay. Bad advice. It was the 50s, and I was a youngster of 5 or 6, fighting a bug of some kind, and doctors still made house calls. Ours just happened to drive a Porsche. My brother warned me I was in for a shot, not high on my list of things to do. Our house was old with plenty of places to hide, but my mom knew most of them. I had to be creative. The upstairs back bedroom had an old fireplace, long sealed, so they thought. But boys always look for hidden walls or sliding metal plates, concealing abandoned places. I was small, so was the fireplace. I crawled in and pulled the metal plate closed, so only a slice of light came in. I heard Mom yelling for me, looking under the beds, in the closet, behind the vanity. I even saw her look in my direction, but she left without trying the metal plate. I heard her go down the steps. There were voices in the living room. A few minutes passed, and Mom came back saying all was clear, the doctor had left. I could come out now. And after a few minutes, I bravely slid open the fireplace, only to learn I'd been deceived. Mom proved to be as clever as me. Minutes later, I found myself bare butt across her knee, caught nowhere to go. The shot was on its way when my brother yelled, "Tighten up!"
Oh, Dennis. We still need the fan, but for other reasons. Dennis, you have another one for us?
Yes, I do. Let me see if I can. I'm going to try it one more time to get
Try
to
and
that.
share it because we're seeing it and it's streaming. I'm watching it on LinkedIn. Your poem is there.
Okay. Can you see that one?
Still says bad advice. We're still looking at bad advice.
Bad advice. Okay. See if I can get rid of bad advice. Is bad advice gone?
It's gone, and we're back to seeing all of our pretty faces here.
Okay, now let's try sharing again.
Okay, try sharing again.
Okay, got that one?
New World by Greyhound. Go ahead.
Okay, now I know why it disappeared. Okay, and this is when Cadbury finally gets up enough guts to head down to the south to go and try and meet up with Alexa. And Cadbury has one friend, and it's his dog, Dornetti. New World by Greyhound. They made me buy a ticket for Dornetti, even though I said he could sit on my lap. He didn't. Wait a minute. He needed to be on a short leash. I wonder if they know this is his world too. 2 bags. I'm going to read it from this thing. I can't read it off there.
That's
I'm sorry.
fine. No problem.
Okay. It's my eyes. Okay.
You're up to 2 bags.
2 bags. That's all I could carry. I had to leave the Xbox with Mom. I hope she doesn't break it. My record collection I put in storage, along with my memorabilia from grade school and high school, and my yearbook and comic books. Why do they call them comic books? They don't have a real cover, just flimsy pages that get glass stained and stick together from the mustard in my sandwiches. I'm going to miss my mom, my room, and the sliding glass doors that open to the 3 stoned walls that form my garden of rocks. I can watch the sun move the shadows from west to east, unless it rains. Then I watch the water stream down the valleys of the stone. I guess I got what I need. Dornetti took the small suitcase for his water bowl and chew toys. We share what's left of his blanket. We are both excited and scared about going to a new world with Alexa, Castle, and Beckett. It's a long bus ride, and Dornetti insists he had to have the window seat so he could say goodbye to the world as we know it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
Several hours later, this is what happened.
Okay.
Open all night. It was my fault. I shouldn't have fallen asleep. How was I to know the little boy in the seat in front of us would binge on Hershey bars to the point of a chocolate face? I woke up to his giggling as Dornetti was licking his chin. His mother, startled to it all, screamed, "He's eating my boy." The boy screamed back at the mom, now with just half a chocolate face and sudden tears to deal with. Dornetti barked, the bus stopped, the door opened, and we found ourselves on the side of the road in Uberville, Kentucky, population 756 on weekends. Dornetti just learned no good deed goes unpunished, and we have nowhere to stay tonight. It's life under the open sky. There are no sidewalks on the main road as we watched the taillights disappear. There was an intersection a few hundred yards away with a house with a porch light on, as if expecting someone at 5:50 a.m. I guess we are walking, Dornetti. The idea of starting a new life has a strange way of welcoming us. We were supposed to wake up in Paducah. Instead, I'll be trying my luck at WKYP 1450 AM, Uberville's finest. At least that's what the sign says. There's a few chairs on the front porch. Seems welcoming anyway, and there's some music playing. Not loud enough to wake the neighbors, but beats the crickets, if you know what I mean. Let's sit a spell, get our bearings. You open for that?
Oh, Dennis, lovely, lovely. Wow. If you can stop sharing, and I thank you, Dennis. That was beautiful.
Oh, the next one's a riot. So it's
Is it short?
No, it's 4 pages long. It's
I
four,
tell you
four or
what,
five pages long.
we're getting tight on time here. I need to give Pearl a chance to read some of hers. So we'll have more time at the end. So let me go to, thank you, Dennis. Let me go back to screen sharing here and get myself together here. Screen share desktop 1. And we'll do this. And Pearl, you are up, my dear. These are pictures. You want to tell everybody what these are?
Oh, on the left is my office downstairs, where I couldn't drag my computer down to be able to speak from, but I'm sitting more appropriately in my writing room. So since we're talking about writing, I guess that's where I should be. And the right is just lighting in my house.
Beautiful lighting. Okay, and tell us what these are.
So these are the beach, the causeway on the left, the marina in the middle, which is very close to my house, and the beach, which is across the street, but across all, a 4-lane highway. So it's not it's a walk, but not a short walk as we would have in the islands. But at any rate, I need to be near water and I need to be near light.
Here we go.
This one is called Summer People. And I guess, I won't psychoanalyze it. I'll just read it. Summer People. He was coatless, as a boy should be, cutting slices through the summer air, thinking of games, until his sneakers found their front walk, and he ran to the door at the end of the road, side stitching, happy panting, already breathing Emily air, Emily family. They would be in the kitchen, just like every summer, a pitcher of cold lemonade, slices of actual lemon floating, sugar crystals rimming the lip, and they would call, "Come on in," and he would smile, "Hi," and then now summer would, but it was all wrong. Anyone could see it. Path weedy, daylilies dead, flag unflapping on the bare pole rusting over the door. That house sagged with the empty feel that unbodied places get. He slumped for a long while against that kitchen door, picking at the flaking paint, sun sinking. His mother would have dinner on the table, be listening for him. Yet he sat, vocabulary words tossed, tumbling, incredibly, apparently, evidently, inexplicably. They were not coming. There was no envelope Natalie fixed to the door, holding an explanation. Never would there be one. They were summer people, after all, their lives as far-flung, twinkling as stars, seemingly set forever, only to flicker, flash, and without warning, slice across the sky, burning bright and out and irrevocably over.
Oh my.
Mhm.
Oh my, Pearl, that ending just, whoa, okay. I'm going to keep my wits about me. Let's go to, tell us who this handsome gentleman is.
Oh, I'm out of order, but that's my dad.
Okay.
Do you want me to read the? Yes. Okay.
This is the one. That's why I put it there. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Okay. The inevitable creep of the tide. There on the shore, my father and I, sea breeze blown, he tanned and black-haired, waiting at a sanded mound, I ferrying Fantasia's beach buckets of seawater, he drizzling into magical being, a castle, 3/4 tall as I. All afternoon we worked, sun lowering in the sky, people walking by, stopping to look, to smile, a trio of tow-headed siblings watching, thumbs in mouths, dumbfounded until they called away. Finally, sand, golden sun setting. He drizzled wet sand through his hands, squeezing a draped doorway into life, a small fuchsia flag posted and waving in the salty air. I watched my father, my castle, and the sudden and unnoticed, inexorable creep of the tide lapping at its sides, leaned against him, inhaling cigarettes, copper tone, salt, a touch of turpentine. We bought creamsicles from the man who came around one last time, hugging a huge steel cooler. And then we were alone in the glow of orange light, the sweet, tangy taste of citrus and cream on my lips as the gentle tide turned, rose, and pushed waves closer, inch by inch, until in a sudden lurch of powerful spray, all that remained of my castle was a tiny fuchsia flag floating out to sea. My father's arms stayed solid around my shoulders as we sat warm in the chill of bittersweet inevitability.
You have a way of ending your poems, Pearl, with a wallop. My goodness. Those last lines. Let me go to one more here. Let's see what we've got. Pictures. Do you want to just quickly tell us what these are? And then we'll do your
Well, the first is St. Thomas, and that's a real sunset. And the second is also another magical sunset. And the third is just the beginning of spring. And I finally had some tulips.
Lovely.
So,
okay.
And this came from sort of my needing a mantra for the events of nowadays. I wish I believed in angels, soft wings brushing against my cheek, coming someday to surround me, safe with white, fluttered, feathered wings in celestial embrace, safe embrace. I wish I believed in angels to hold me, ground me, hear me, cheer me, lift me gently to float off together. I wish I believed in angels' arrival for all who have flown and all those at the ready, growing daily in number. I wish I believed that angel faces flicker in billowing spun sugar clouds and pretty puddles in politics and poetry and in all the in-between. I wish I believed in angels, in the soft rustle of summer rain, in snowflakes falling in navied nights, in the crunch of vermilion autumn leaves, wafting in the riotous tumbled bloom of summer flowers. I wished I believed in the brush of angels on the tips of eyelashes of the newborn, in the corners of the smiles of great-grandfathers at final sleep. I wish I believed in angels in all that is great and mighty, in all that is small and precious. I wish I believed. I wish I believed in angels coming for the hungry children, the maimed children, the grieving parents, the stunning, despairing elders, standing by all those who suffer and those who sin. I wish, as surely as I know white doves fly out of sight, that so float angels, diaphanous, lovely, brawny angels in all forms and configurations, everywhere. I wish they are here, waiting in the whisper of wind, in the glimmer of hope, in the abyss of resignation. I wish I believed in angels And in this aching wish, the contrarian chrysalis of questioning cracks its cocoon. And from this sliver, a filament of fluff vanishing into the shimmer as fast as seen. Perhaps, just perhaps, in that mystic moment of possibility, I believe in angels.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Just want to sit with this for a second. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking at the clock. We have 4.5 minutes left. Dennis, I don't think there's time for your 4-page poem, but with your permission, Amy sent a couple of very short ones. And I'd like Amy, if you'd read the 2. Let me screen share. Let me go to these and let's try this. And here we go from Pearl to, let me go down 1 slide to, come on. There we go. That's Pearl, more pictures. Amy, skip the jeans. Let's do the birdie girl. And then the other one. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay. Hey, she's got that come hither look. Bats her eyelashes, glances over her shoulder. Chickie didn't learn that from a book. That come hither look. Girl knows she's got you hooked. But don't get too cocky. She'll leave you to smolder, to dream about that come hither look. Those flirty lashes, that glance over her shoulder.
Amy, where did this picture come from? Tell us about the photo or the.
I take a lot of pictures at Daphne Bayfront Park in Lower Alabama. So I have collected bird pictures over the years, and then I decided to play with them a little bit. So they kind of look like illustrations instead, and they get kind of funny.
What do you use? Photoshop or something else?
I use Corel.
Corel Draw. Very nice. And we got one. Oh, look at this. Go ahead. Tell us the birdie language, Amy.
Okay, here it is. Squawk, squawk, squawk. It's all he hears. Screech and yap. Nary a kind word. It's crap. They look bleak, the looming years. Squawk, squawk, squawk. It's all he hears. He yearns for the past, her quotes of Shakespeare. What happened to his doting little lovebird? Squawk, squawk, squawk. It's all he hears. Screech and yap. Nary a kind word.
I don't know if we had one more. Let's do hierarchy, and then we got to go. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay. Okay. She knows her rank in the pecking order, has felt the bite of a beak meant to keep her in her place. When she was but a chick, she hoped they might adore her. Now she knows where she ranks in the pecking order, and she's a happy peon, wouldn't rule if they implored her. Even if they gave her 10 times more feed, there'd be no about face. She knows her rank in the pecking order, has felt the spite of a beak meant to teach that girl her place.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I got to get my notes. We got to close here. We're going to get a message here from my engineer. What's time to go? And let me get rid of this and let me go find my notes. I got 2 screens open here with about 8 different things on them, and I've lost my notes. So let me go open them again, and then we will close. Just bear with me here. Read My Lips Radio. Here we go. Schedule 2024, today's show. And here we go with my notes. Good. Okay. I wanted to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart and the top of my brain for sharing who you are and what you do. This is not in my notes. This is just me talking. Amy and Lela, I hope I can call you that, and Pearl and Dennis. It's been really, really fun. And I'd like to make a prediction that if I invite you back, you'll come back.
Absolutely.
Later in the year. I have a couple of openings in November and December, and I'd love to have you back. And let's just shake up the order of the poets a little bit. And Dennis, bring a couple things that aren't 1,200 pages long, a little bit shorter, so we get a little more from you. And I want to say, let's see now. Here, there's a quote here I want to share very quickly from Mandy Moore, played Rapunzel in the movie Tangled 2010. And the quote is, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. We'll just stop there. I didn't have a chance to do famous birthdays or holidays or anything like that, just because we're having too much fun. In 2014, I used to close the show with the top 10 tips for women. And the number one tip, this is for the girls, not for you, Dennis, is aspired to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. Let me close that's 10 years before the movie. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Kiss slowly, right, Lela? Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. And never, ever, ever regret anything that made you smile. And final words, work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Get over it. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La! And last but not least, I stole this line from a host years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Everybody wave goodbye. Jordan, tell us when we're out. And my guests are going to stick around for a while. Jordan, are we good?
All clear. Great show.
Okay.